Hey, and welcome to a different type of episode on Sparring Partners Podcast. This week it's just me. Last week I got lost in the woods and was unable to make it to the recording session. And Brad is actually still lost looking for me. So I made it back safe and sound. Hopefully he will too. Um, but yeah, this week I figured I'd just fire it up and we could take a look at last week's fights and these coming up and this past week's fights. We had a UFC Fight Night on the same night. We had Mike Tyson fighting Roy Jones Jr. So it was a big night of fights. Um, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share the screen for all you listening folks. I'll just I'm not going to describe the page, but I'll read the information on it. Yeah, and so let's get started. So yeah, of course, Smith and Clark. So Smith and Clark, big fight for both. Of course, the main event fell out. Supposed to be Derek Lewis, Curtis Blades. That's getting rescheduled according to the boss man Dana White. But they slapped on 2 extra rounds to Smith and Clark, and they had a main event. They didn't need it though, because we got a submission via triangle in the first round by Smith. This was a super important fight for Smith. While I was on a radio call with Brad while he was trying to find his way in the woods, we talked about this a little bit. And on the phone, I told him that this fight, Devin Clark's skilled. He's not quite top echelon, right? But he is becoming a guy in the division by fighting more people like Anthony Smith and hopefully winning in those contests. He'll be more and more of a guy, but Anthony Smith needed this. Anthony Smith needed this really bad. He had a not not great showings in his last bouts, right? Getting smashed by Teixeira and then getting essentially wrestled. He got the points wrestled out of him by Rakic. And in that fight, he seemed to not be all there as far as looking like he wanted to be there. And in this one, it was different. This one, he got the triangle and he got it super quick. And I think, yeah, like I said, I mean, just getting back in the win column, I think was way more important than anything else, especially for Anthony Smith. Not to take anything away from Devin Clark, but beating Devin Clark is not going to be a thing that Anthony Smith is going to think about in tough times and fights, or that's going to drive him to continue on. It's the fact that Anthony Smith got back in the win column, which I think is really big for momentum's sake. Really feeling up to the task. So I'm not sure exactly where to place him. I'm not sure exactly where to place him. And actually, for that, we are going to go to the website. Once again, this is presented by Film Fight Freaks. And actually, that's gonna be discussed later. Tested positive. Really, we're gonna go to fights to make from Evan. And so he wants to see a Johnny Walker matchup. I like that idea. I think Johnny Walker is someone who needs more names, or really former title challengers, things like that. So I like that matchup quite a bit. And then, of course, also on this card, we had Miguel Baeza taking on Takashi Sato. This was clearly a showcase for Baeza. I'm pretty sure Dana White said as much, and he delivered. He delivered big time. Really was able to showcase a lot of skills in this fight, and coming off that KO of Matt Brown, in which Baeza saw some adversity. He got really hurt in that fight, and then came back to win it. So this fight very much is co-main event on ESPN. Um, very important for him to win. Very important for him to win in fashion if he wants to leverage that perfect record of his. He's 10-0, Contender Series vet. Yeah, man, I'm excited to see who they match him up next with. I know Evan in the article we were just looking at, he was thinking Jake Matthews. I like that fight. I like that fight quite a bit. Jake Matthews is young, but has been around for a little bit. Um, yeah, I like that quite a bit. A young, athletic dude in Jake Matthews that's going to be able to push Baeza, because Baeza is so dang athletic, right? He's strong, he's quick. Um, yeah. Again, solid pick from Evan. And then also on the card, Parisian. Parisian got stopped. He of course he fought on this season of the Contender Series, and Parker Porter. He was a heavy underdog coming into this fight. Um, I think the Parisian Porter fight was the widest odds on this card, and man, they slugged it out, man. Don't take anything away from Parisian coming out of this. He fought hard, dude. They were a couple heavyweights. They were throwing them bungalows. You know what I mean? It was good. It was a good fight. Bel Algio by Carlisle. Carlisle came close with a bulldog choke. Shout out to uh, Newton. I always want to say Cam Newton. It's not Cam Newton. It's Carlos Newton. There you go. Shout out to Carlos Newton, former welterweight king. Yeah, that fight was awesome. Bill Algio, after I think called out Chikadze, but I don't know about that. Dumont picking up a win over Evan Smith, hard fought win, good win. Evan Smith is a staple of that division, so um, good name to have on the resume. Jonathan Pierce and Kai Kamaka the third. What a fight! Very very fun fight to watch. Both dudes super well conditioned. You could tell. Also very well drilled because they were just changing positions all over the place. Pierce comes away with the win, but Kai Kamaka was very much in the fight until he got stopped. It was a pleasure to watch, and Jonathan Pierce, that was a big one for him. Had he? This is I don't have it. Tapology has it all. So yeah, Pierce. Yes, that's what I was thinking. I knew he was rebounding from something, getting stopped by Joe Lauzon. Um, but his first octagon win, and it's a stoppage. So good on him. Very good work from Jonathan Pierce. And then Anderson Dos Santos picking up the guillotine win over Martin Day. Again, really solid win. Um, uh, Mizani picking up a win over Ostovich. Ostovich drops to 4-6. Ooh, I don't know, man. Other than her being very marketable, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if she gets to hang around. Yeah, man. Ooh, she is in her last 5. official, taking away these. In her last 5, she's 1-4. Ooh. And she's been stopped in all of those losses. Man, I don't know. It's one of those Van Zandt situations, man. She's super marketable, clearly. You go to her Instagram page, super marketable. But at 1-4 in your last 5, you've been stopped in every single one of those losses. I don't know if the UFC has her back. For her, hopefully, but man, they gotta figure out some if they really want her in the UFC, they I was saying they're gonna need to like try and groom her or whatever, but like that woman was 0-0, and Gina Mazzani was 6 and yeah, man. She's just she's unfortunately not elite. She just is not. Sucks for her. But moving on, Sue Maderji picks up, I believe on the broadcast, is tied for the 3rd fastest finish in flyweight history, 44 seconds. Yeah, man, that was his flyweight debut, I believe, and oh man, we got a guy at 125. I'm very excited to see who they match him up with next. And then the last one, we got Nate Maness getting it done over Luke Sanders via finish. This was Maness's second fight in the UFC. His first one was it was a weird fight, and it didn't necessarily impress as far as action goes. It was grappling heavy, but not super active. And I know Maness was a little bit disappointed with that fight, and I don't think he can be disappointed in this one. It was a good showing from him. Now, I would like to discuss next week's card. That's what I would like to do now. Oh no, I don't. No, I don't, because we have Tyson. We have the Tyson fight. Get out of here. Yeah, we had Tyson Jones on Saturday, which I watched this. I had to rewatch the UFC card, but I watched this. Hey man, super entertaining. Super entertaining. I'm not gonna really go beyond the main 2 fights, just like everyone else discussing this card. Although Badu Jack and Blake McKernan was a fun watch. Blake McKernan was brought in to lose essentially, but nobody told him that he was in there. A lot of heart in that fella. But yeah, that's essentially what it was. He got brought in to get beat up by Badu Jack. It's boxing. What are you gonna do? In the co-main event, if you will, we had Jake Paul and Nate Robinson, which featured it was a faceplant KO, y'all. It was a faceplant KO, and credit to Nate Robinson because he got dropped pretty severely in the first round, twice, pretty sure. One was a slip, but dude, I thought he was done the first time he got dropped, to be honest, because he pretty much face planted in that one too, and then he got face planted again. He in the first one, Robinson complained about getting hit in the back of the head. It was not. It was on the mohawk. It was like, right behind the ear, borderline back of the head, but it wasn't back of the head. No rabbit punches. Yeah, man. Jake Paul looked like a guy who had been training to box, and Nate Robinson looked like a guy who maybe just started training to box, which is what they are. Jake Paul has been training in boxing for 2 years plus. I think around 2 years is what I keep hearing. And Nate Robinson just started not too long ago. He also was dealing with a massive size disadvantage against Paul. And yeah, it resulted in a crazy faceplant KO. One where I did for you video people out there, I went through the trouble to pull up the grainiest version I could. That was from the first round. This was the first round knockdown. Yeah, and look at him. No way. Like I thought, no way he gets back up. But he did. Credit to him. And that happened again. And again, he got back up. Credit to him. This is the actual KO. Zoom that in a little bit. It's already grainy. This is going to be more grainy, but a little bit bigger. There. Oh. Oh, no. Yeah, man. I mean, I was speechless after that. And I'm speechless now. I mean, Nate Robinson. Oh, no. Yeah, Nate Robinson, man. Credit to him for stepping in, but people, I think people are slowly coming to realize that, yeah, look at this. Yeah, Jake Paul is young, and he's been practicing at boxing, and he has the money to pay people that whose jobs it is to make people good at boxing. So, yeah, man, I don't. I don't want to watch that anymore. Actually, yeah, Nate Robinson was out for a while. I don't know necessarily what to say about it other than, like, Jake Paul is going to need to graduate from stars. They're going to need to he's going to need to graduate from, yeah, ex NBA players and YouTubers. I mean, well, I say that, but he doesn't have to. He could probably make a career out of knocking out people who don't train. But if he wants to be taken at all seriously in boxing, which is what he seems to want to do in his post-fight interview, he said that's what he wants to do. He's going to need to start finding, which is going to be tough for him. It's going to be tough for him to find opponents because he can't just pick some other 2-0 professional boxer that no one's ever heard of. He needs someone with name value, because he likes to make a spectacle out of when he fights because he wants to get paid, obviously. So he's going to have a tough time. My only point is that eventually he's just going to come across as a bully. I mean, I don't know. People don't like him. I don't know if it's because they think he's a bully now, but like you can only faceplant Nate Robinson so many times before people just look at you like a bully. I mean, that's what it is. So it's going to be tough for him. It's going to be tough for him to find opponents that make sense if he wants to actually grow as a boxer, and also find opponents that are big enough names for it to make sense that he would risk the fallout of a loss, right? But I guess if you keep picking up people who don't really train, um, and you just keep training, I mean, it's conceivable you can do this forever. Um, but I don't know. It was one of those things where after Nate Robinson got dropped the first time, I didn't really think about whether or not this matchup was wrong, like morally, like I felt morally wrong watching Ortiz Liddell 3. I didn't feel good about watching that fight. And then when Chuck Liddell hit the canvas, I felt I felt wrong for having watched that fight. It didn't feel good to have watched that fight. And with Jake Paul and Nate Robinson, I didn't anticipate that feeling going in. But when Nate Robinson didn't get up for a little bit, I felt like a monster. For I felt like I felt like it was not a thing we should be putting on retired NBA players against young millionaires with a newfound love for boxing. Yeah, but moving on to the main event. Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson, they officially go to a draw in the weird non-official scoring, but the one that was supposed to give us some sort of conclusion after the fight. That one also is a draw. Um, Overall, though, that fight was super fun to watch. I had a really great time watching that fight. The 2-minute rounds kept it brisk. This is a thing that I wish we would bring over to MMA some more. Shorter rounds, not on the whole, but if you go and you watch Pancrase, all the prelims are 3-minute rounds. This does two things. One, it allows your young talent to get more reps. They can fight more often because they're not in there for as long. They're only in there for 9 minutes as opposed to the full 15. The 3-minute rounds are also used for older fighters. I believe it was Minowa Man and maybe it was Kondo. It was just two OGs of Japanese MMA that fought in Pancrase, and they used 3-minute rounds. And at first, I was kind of bummed because I wasn't going to get to see as much as of these legends fight. But then when I thought about it, I go, you know what? Yeah, I just want to see them fight, be it for 9 minutes or 15. I just want to see these dudes compete again, and that's how I felt with the 2-minute rounds for Jones and Tyson, which is we're not trying to see if we're not trying to see if they're going to be able to like make something of this. You know what I mean? Like they're not proving they can still compete professionally. They're just going out and doing it for fun, and in Tyson's case, um, for charity. Roy Jones' case, and actually, I'd say this: as great as the event was and the production was fantastic, I did have a feeling that a lot of people were involved because they needed money, which no, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I did get that feeling. But yeah, back to the fight. Yeah, the 2-minute rounds kept things. They kept it feeling brisk, even though there was a lot of fighting in the clinch. A lot of things that as an MMA fan, tends to grind on me. The clinch in boxing, like when I watch boxing, the clinch is a thing that constantly um, puts me off of it. It just does. I've tried multiple times to like get into boxing, and it just the clinch the clinch portion of the game just I don't find appealing. But this fight, the clinch portion of the game was the fight. And actually, one thing I noticed about this event, which you don't typically see in boxing events, is that the referees let the fighters play out the clinch way more often and for much longer than is typical, or at least what I've seen in boxing. Typically, those as soon as the fighters link up, the referee's in there tapping them on the shoulder and telling them to split. But this card, the referees seemed pretty willing to let the fighters fight their way out, which I like. That's what I would like to see. Um, but yeah, man, Tyson looked so powerful in there. Jones, there were shades of Roy Jones Jr. He was hitting some nice jabs. He was hitting some nice punches from the outside, but and you could tell that Jones wanted, while he wanted to punch from the outside and whatnot, he also was quite willing to get into the clinch with Tyson. Um, but man, Tyson looked so strong, and those he was landing some brutal body shots, really hard body shots. Um, yeah, Mike Tyson looked great. Roy Jones Jr. looked like he didn't want to get hit by Mike Tyson anymore. That's what he looked like it. But thankfully, I'm very thankful that no one got put out in that fight. I think that would because this event, if you're watching this type of media, then or listening to this type of media, you already kind of get a sense that this card is generally well received, has been generally well received. And yeah, if Roy Jones Jr. or Mike Tyson had face planted the way that Nate Robinson did, it would be a whole different conversation coming out of this card. It would be, what are we doing? Why did we do it? And I think that honestly, the problem with something like this, like a Legends League, is that one of these times, one of these legends is gonna face plant on the canvas, and I think that'll be the ultimate, like, uh, we all collectively come out of the spell and realize we're paying money to watch men in their 50s punch each other in the head. Uh, yeah, I think that's the most likely end for the Triller Legends League. Is somebody getting bodied and everyone realizing that that dude was not in the age bracket that we want to watch that happen to anymore. Um, yeah. Overall, good time for the the Tyson Jones card. Um, I would like to see more. Um, I don't know if I necessarily need to see Tyson and Jones again, but there was some rumblings about Holyfield, and there's other things on. There is the possibility of Anderson Silva taking on Roy Jones finally after years and years and years of waiting. Um, I I would like to say I wouldn't watch it, but I would, like, without a doubt. I would watch I would watch Jones Jr. and Anderson Silva lock up. Finally, yeah, I'm down. Ooh, water break. Yeah. So that concludes our talk of Tyson and Jones. And so at this point, we can move on to next week. There's been some shuffling. There's been some stuff like this, the COVID related dropouts of the card. Kevin Holland was in. Now it's Marvin Vettori, which I actually really like this fight, and I think this is what Vettori needed. Unfortunately for Kevin Holland, and seeing the silver lining in the situation, Marvin Vettori is really freaking good, and I think this type of situation is what was needed to get Vettori booked against a real capital G guy in the middleweight division. So what else is on that card? Let's take a look at what else is on that card. And actually, let's take a look down here at all the canceled or fizzled bouts. As we know, it was originally supposed to be Till taking on Hermansson. Then here's some other fights we lost, man. Cody Stamen, Devashili. Man, hopefully that gets rebooked at some point. Kevin Holland, another Devashili fight. Santos and Moroz. Well, let's take a look at the card. Immediately, this pops out to me. Luis Smolka, Quinones. That's going to be a fun one. We knew it was going to be a fun one when it was originally booked. It got pushed back due to COVID or something. Surely it's COVID. It's always COVID at this point. Next up, we got Gabriel Benitez and Justin James. Ooh, that's another love letter to the hardcores. Justin James always brings it, as does Benitez. Good old Mowgli. Dang, I'm excited for that fight. Damon Jackson, Illa Topuria. I don't know that much about really either guy. So let's take a look. Ooh, okay. So this guy has a win over Mirsad Bektik, and was a former LFA guy. Competed in PFL. Okay. 17-3. That's a pretty solid record. And we have Ila Topuria, the man with the most cut middle ab ever. Jeez, man, it looks like an incision. Cool. It's like his abs are kind of like a tire, I'm sure. If he can see the top of Abe Lincoln's head, he knows he's getting out of shape. And okay, he comes from Brave CF, and he has one win against Yusuf Zalal. Okay, so cool. A couple relatively new guys to the octagon. That'll be fun. Jimmy Flick, finally, Jimmy Flick gets to make his debut against Cody Durden. Cody Durden is a guy who fought to a draw with Chris Gutierrez. Jimmy Flick, man, he surprised the heck out of me. I did not, when I was doing my predictions for the site on the episode that he did on this season's Contender Series, I didn't pick him. I picked Nate Smith, and I regret it because he won, and he won pretty dominantly. Ooh, and another Contender Series vet from this past season, season 4, Jordan Levitt taking on Matt Wyman. That's that's a tough test for Levitt. Granted, Matt Wyman is not the Matt Wyman that we saw years and years ago, but Matt Wyman is a vet. He's a vet of the game, so he's not going to do. Jordan Levitt's ground game is so dang good. That's what he mainly relies on to win, and I think when you fight on the regional show, you get some more. Granted, Levitt's still stepping in there, what have you, but I think that Matt Wyman's veteran savvy is going to be a little bit tougher to deal with than Levitt might be ready for. If you get what I mean, Levitt's super skilled on the floor, really good, but he's only 7-0. Matt Wyman, while he's not the Matt Wyman of old, he's still Matt Wyman, and he still is pretty damn skilled. And while Levitt has some decent stand-up skill, Matt Wyman is not. He's not necessarily going to have to worry about getting shut off in this fight. So that's very interesting to me. I really am curious to see if Levitt can overcome the wealth of experience from Matt Wyman. That's a good fight. Jake Collier taking on Jean Vellante at heavyweight. Man, I don't necessarily like Vellante at heavyweight. He doesn't look like a heavyweight. He looks like a dude who just is not working out right now at heavyweight. I mean, even losing his last one, I believe he did. He lost to right. Yeah, he lost to Maurice Green. Well, he didn't look shut out in that fight. It wasn't. Yeah, I just don't like him at that weight. It just I don't know him. Obviously, I don't know him. I don't know the way he thinks. But Jean Vellante, who was a middleweight, who went to light heavyweight, and is now at heavyweight, just seems to be a lack of commitment, maybe, or a lack of. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't love him at heavyweight, man. I'm a huge fan of Jean Vellante, and I just don't think heavyweight's the optimal weight for him. He's taken on Jake Collier, 11-5. Jake, who just lost. Lost in 45 seconds to Tom Aspinall. Don't worry, bud. You're not alone. And this looks like a different guy to who was in that thumbnail, right? Hold on. Let's take a look. Let's go back a little bit. So he used to fight. Is that a middleweight? Okay, so we have another guy who was formerly a middleweight that now fights at heavyweight. Okay. Kind of has been a 50-50 fighter at the in the tippy top of the MMA world, so we'll see. Knowing Jean Vellante and the way he fights, it'll be a fun one. Nate Landwehr makes his return against Movsar Evlaev. I don't know who that is. He's 13-0 though. Nate Landwehr is 14-3. Landwehr's fun to watch, and I'm sure this guy is too. I'm sure. I apologize. I don't have any. I don't have anything more to say than that on fight number 7 here, or fight number 8. Although I'm sure both are going to be fun, and 9 for that matter. Now I do have some thoughts on OSP versus Jamal Hill. because as you can see, there is quite the experience deficit for Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill is 8-0 compared to OSP's 25-14-0. Doing some quick math, that is over 4 times the experience for OSP. Hey man, experience is huge, and I know OSP has been a little bit of a lull as of late, but yeah, he's another guy. He went up to heavyweight, although he dropped back down, which was a good move. For him. But yeah, the UFC must not like Jamal Hill or have a lot of faith in the guy. It's one or the other. I'm not. You could convince me of either possibility, but Jamal Hill, he is 2 straight in the octagon. Won on the Contender Series last year, and OSP is a huge step up in competition for him. Whether you think OSP is overrated or underrated or whatever, he's a dude who's fought for a belt, and he went the distance fighting arguably the best ever. And even though he didn't come out on top, experience like that is what I'm talking about when you're talking about two different dudes. Now, if Jamal Hill can overcome OSP, that's massive. That's very massive. We have a 9-0 fighter who took out a former title challenger. That's big, man. That's big. And then finally, Jack Hermansson and Marvin Vettori. Hermansson's last bout was a submission, correct? Yes. Was a heel hook win over Kelvin Gastelum. It was the most unceremonious win ever. It was like when Ryan Hall heel hooked BJ Penn. It just happened, and it happened so quick, and you're like, it's over. Okay, well, he won. He twisted his ankle. He did it. Super impressive to do over Kelvin Gastelum too, though. And I think Darren Till could have done a lot for Jack Hermansson if he had beaten Till, because Till is such a name. Kevin Holland, it wouldn't have done as much. And now beating a Marvin Vettori will be a very good, could be a very good resume builder, a good name on the hit list. But the unfortunate thing for Jack Hermansson, he went from possibly gaining some shine over beating a name fighter like Till, to now Marvin Vettori is probably looking at Jack Hermansson and being like, hey, that's a guy that was supposed to be fighting Darren Till. This is my first time getting a named dude. Most people know Marvin Vettori is the dude to take Adesanya the distance. So he's 3 straight. So Marvin Vettori is 3 straight since he lost a split decision to Israel Adesanya. And yeah, dude, this is a huge opportunity for him. A main event spot probably was not going to happen otherwise, or he's going to have to win some more. But that is that for next week. He was supposed to fight Souza, but got rebooked, and he was supposed to fight Omari Akhmedov. That is probably for the best that he did not. Not that I think that he couldn't have won that bout. He definitely could have. It's just these Russian names, man. I don't. You have to be a pretty heralded Russian for Westerners to really pick up, like Khabib. People know who Khabib is now. Um, but do they know who Islam Makhachev is, or Devasheli, or no, probably not. Now, I just this one's probably going to be a little bit shorter than normal, but I'm just going to do some quick hits with some news that I saw surfing around the old RMMA. Khabib apparently bought an MMA promotion, which is interesting. It's on RT Sport. He bought GFC Guerrilla Fighting Championship. That's either an okay name for an MMA organization or the greatest concept for a new thing like dog racing. I'm pretty sure it's the MMA organization, though. Yeah, operates out of Dagestan. And yeah, Khabib apparently bought it. And here's a tweet I saw that I thought was interesting about it. Costs around 1 million. This is what Stephen Kelleher is saying from what he is. It's going to be renamed Eagle Fighting Championship. Still could be a really cool dog, you know. I don't know why they'd ever trade watching gorillas fight for a championship into having eagles fighting for a championship, but either way, I'm in. Middle East expansion, probably some Abu Dhabi action there, and modified MMA rules. I would be very curious what the modified MMA rules are going to be. So yeah, the Eagle. Now Kevin Holland got rebooked after he tested positive for COVID, and he got rebooked against Jacare Souza, which is not a great matchup for Kevin Holland and those long limbs, man. That's tough. That's tough. But I mean, you got to think. Jack Hermansson probably has the same game plan that Souza has in regards to fighting Kevin Holland. So at least Kevin Holland won't have to change that much to get ready. I'm sure there's some finer details he will, but I mean, both Hermansson and Souza are looking to lock up one of those long legs or arms or neck or whatever en route to a victory. And we already discussed this. Vettori replaces Holland. And we discussed this a little bit too. Post-fight, Roy Jones stated that he thought the Anderson Silva bout could take place. And Silva still wants to fight. Roy Jones is he's fanning the flames a little bit. Dope. Okay, whatever. I don't hate it. But like I was saying earlier, there's gonna come a time where this Legends League, it's like when Bellator quit doing the Legends League stuff, right? When Dada 5000's heart reportedly stopped in the cage. He had to go to the hospital after that fight. Everyone looked around, they're like, why did we have two backyard fighters fight in the main event of our MMA show? Why did we do that? I think that that's probably what's going to happen. Is eventually one of these Legends matches are going to end, a la Nate Robinson, and we're gonna be awakened from this mass hypnosis, and we're gonna just go, oh right, they're very old. They don't belong in this sport anymore. But if it happens, I will watch it. Big news for PFL. PFL, I have heard rumors that they were in a little bit of financial trouble, but if they make a signing like this, they seem like they're ready for 2021. If you guys remember, uh, late last year, I think it was, or maybe even early this year. Time's been so nuts. PFL signed. They signed like Johnny Case. They signed. The big one was Rory McDonald. They signed some other people too for the 2020 season. Some decent signings from them. And then, this whole season fell through for them due to COVID. But hey, man, they just signed Clarissa Shields. If they have the money to sign Clarissa Shields, because I'm sure she commanded a decent amount of money to fight there. She has a lot of, there was that the rumors of her and the lioness facing down, or is that a saying? Facing down? No, that's not a saying. Facing off. It's a showdown. They're facing off in a showdown. But that didn't happen, obviously, and now she signs with PFL. I'm really excited to see what PFL's 2021 season is like. I mean, you gotta think they gotta do something soon because they have all these fighters sitting on contracts, man. Kayla Harrison just fought. She just fought for Titan. Yeah. Or LFA. She fought for one of them. And it's just escaping me right now. So, like, the management at least is being cool with fighters in regards to letting them make money while PFL is out of commish. And then I just thought, to close things out, this was kind of interesting. This is every main event that got canceled in 2020. There's some big ones in here, guys. And of course, speaking of Leon Edwards, Kamayev just tested positive for COVID, as we saw on the homepage of Film Fight Freaks. So, Leon Edwards, dude, it's the old take what you can get while you can get it. Because I think, man, he's got to do a lot of work now to get his name back in the title picture without that Kamayev fight. Leon Edwards, Woodley. This is the big one on every fight fan's heart that we lost. I'm actually, looking at some of these. I'm actually more disappointed now because I actually forgot about some of these. Like this one didn't seem right, but no, in fact, it was supposed to happen this year. Traveling issues, COVID. Yeah. This I think this got rebooked, but man, there's some that I'm actually pretty upset we have not gotten. This one we lost, and the latest statement from Dana White is that we're not going to see Yair for a while. I don't know what's going on with that guy, but he cannot stay active to save his life. Figueroa, Garbrandt, just lost that one. Just lost that one. Just lost that one. That sucks for Anderson. She's been working for that shot for a long time. And we just lost this one. But in the meantime, we get Figueiredo and Brennan Moreno in place of Yan and Sterling. But that the Sterling and Yan is going to get rebooked, but it's a shame because it seems like Aljo again. He's another dude who's been waiting forever. I feel like that choke of Sandhagen was forever ago. I mean, knowing how time's been this year, it probably happened in February, but it feels like forever ago. Well, guys, I think we've come to the end. We've come to the end. So this has been the first solo sparring partner. Could be called like training dummy or something. I don't know. It's a little bit late, but yeah, as always, let us know what you think down in the comments down below. Subscribe, like the videos if you like them. You can find us on filmfightfreaks.com. You can find us on anchor.fm. You can find us on YouTube. All those places. And if you stuck with me for this long, just me blathering on for, hey man, almost an hour, it looks like. Thank you. And we'll be back next week. Mondays are our new recording times. So the episode will be out tomorrow, which is Tuesday. So see you there. And thanks for listening, guys.